Hello there, Fox fans. I hope you're doing well. I've been feeling that it was about time to make an update video, which is not something that I'm used to making, but I'll do my best. So, firstly, I want to address the elephant in the room, so to speak. So, yeah, The Lord of the Rings. What happened? For those of you that haven't seen my YouTube community post that I shared a few weeks ago and don't perhaps follow me on Patreon, Facebook, or Discord, where I've been discussing these things at length, you may still be confused as to where all of my Lord of the Rings content and Hobbit content suddenly went to. Well, tragically, all of my videos based upon the work of the late and dear Professor J.R. Tolkien had to be removed for copyright reasons. If you would like to know more, please simply check my YouTube community posts from the end of August. So, whether you're on mobile or the desktop version of YouTube, all you need to do is go to my channel homepage by clicking my channel name or icon and then clicking on the tab called Community. Scroll down a little and you'll see two posts which have a picture saying, "A letter from Stephen Garnett, my reading of J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings must be removed from YouTube for copyright reasons." And seriously, there is a lot of information in these posts, so please do take a moment and give them a read through. And I'm not only talking about why I've had to remove my audiobook videos, but I'm also sharing some of my feelings about the whole, sorry situation. And on this note, I would like to take this opportunity to say again, thank you so much for the amazing comments that so many of you have left on these posts. As well as over on Patreon, Facebook, Discord, and through my email at redfoxvoice@gmail.com. I mean, I truly have an incredible online community here, and messages like these have really helped to keep me going this month. So after also having to stop reading Harry Potter and other series in the past, as well as having 2 YouTube channels deleted, now being forced to stop producing my readings of The Lord of the Rings has been a massive blow in many regards. For about 2 weeks, after first receiving an email from a representative of the Tolkien estate, I was genuinely, absolutely heartbroken. The terms of the email came very suddenly with no prior warning or correspondence, and the message was scary to receive, to say the least. And the hefty fine mentioned felt like the smallest of my worries. And I was threatened with court action and felt completely devastated that I could no longer continue recording this production in any way, shape or form, and could no longer share it with you at all. So basically, I can no longer record myself reading any work of J.R. Tolkien in any format, no matter if it's a small extract, poem, song, full chapter, you name it. They've been very, very precise with the terms put forward. And for the record, I'm absolutely not disputing or arguing against the terms put forth by the Tolkien estate and their legal team. I'm simply wanting to be transparent with informing you as my online community that have followed me and supported me for days, weeks, even years. And sincerely, these circumstances really have pushed me to the closest that I've ever been to quitting all of this. I mean, I knew in my heart I wouldn't quit, Red Fox Voice and everything that I've been building over these last 3 years, and all of you out there, mean far too much to me to quit. But I was hurting, angry, sad, bitter, confused. I could use many, many words here. And basically feeling that the world is a very unfair place. It might sound ridiculous, but I'm sure many of you understand and can maybe in some way relate to what I'm saying. And all this being said, after feeling very low for a while, and I know this is only a short-term thing in terms of Lord of the Rings, and this was only a few weeks ago, but it's not just an isolated incident. You know, like I've said, I've had those of you particularly that have been following me for a long time know that I've had all sorts of different issues over these last 2 or 3 years, and although I'm aware that I'm a very lucky individual in all sorts of ways, I've had some really tough times in the past as well, you know, going way back, and sometimes you just can really feel like, can a guy not just catch a break, you know? And I've talked about this at length in the past, and like I said, please do read those community posts for a little bit more context and a deeper insight to how I've been feeling regarding all this. And so, all this being said, and after feeling very low for a while, I've been picking myself up and looking to the future, basically. I had to stop feeling sorry for myself and remember why I do all this in the first place. So please note that I am as motivated as ever to keep producing content that so many of you enjoy all around the world. And just before the cease and desist order dropped into my email one morning, I was feeling about as creative as I've ever felt. You know, I had dozens of different ideas and concepts spinning around my head, and all these feelings and all of this inspiration is still very much there. And I'm sure you can see this in the new content that I've been pumping out over these last couple of weeks, despite all the mess with the Lord of the Rings and such. And so genuinely, I still have to pinch myself on a daily basis that despite a lot of obstacles, I have 26,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I know there are way bigger channels out there. But for me, that is incredible. Really. And I have over 300 active patrons on Patreon. And I was just realizing the other day that altogether, since I started Patreon 2.5 years ago, I've had over 1,000 patrons at some point or another, whether someone just joins for a few days or whether they join me right at the very beginning, such as my first ever patron and friend of mine, Alan. Those others, like Scott, and I could name so many names here, but I'm not going to do that in this particular video. But that some people have been there from the very beginning and are still with me today, it's incredible. And you know who you are, and whether you were there from the beginning and for whatever reason could no longer or didn't feel like you wanted to keep supporting me, there are so many reasons why that might be the case. Still, it is amazing, and just know that I am so, so grateful. And yeah, so I mean, still today, despite issues, I have over 300 active patrons on Patreon, which, for those of you not aware with Patreon, it's a fantastic crowdfunding website for creators. And that so many of you are out there choosing to offer your support to me every single month. It's incredible. It's really surreal. And I mean, at the end of the day, I absolutely love what I do. And I want to thank you for being a part of this journey. And so, I mean, Lord of the Rings or no Lord of the Rings, do keep coming back for more from me. I mean, there are thousands of books out there that aren't going to read themselves, and I'm having a lot of fun experimenting with new types of content too. So, I mean, take a look at my vlog up in Swedish Lapland, where I'm goofing about with my fiancée Maria that played Galadriel and so beautifully brought her songs to life in a way that honestly brought tears to my eyes on a number of occasions. And I know a lot of you have felt very touched by Maria's interpretation of Galadriel, or our interpretation of Galadriel, as we worked very, very closely together. And do check out my new Discover Sweden, Red Fox Explores, this virtual guided walking tour video that I shared just a couple of weeks ago. It has a reading by a serene lake surrounded by forest. It's a very pleasant video. I really enjoyed making it. It was like therapy for me making that video. And that video is the first in a new series of similar videos as I film my explorations. I'm going to be going to Stockholm, Uppsala. I can travel in different places in Sweden, and hopefully at some point in the near future, even perhaps film and make similar videos outside of Sweden too. So back home in the UK, and let's see where else I can go. I would absolutely love to be able to travel a little bit again and make some wholesome, quite educational and hopefully relaxing videos of that nature. And also take a look at my new gaming videos where I'm commentating gameplay as I live stream. So I've been live streaming over on Twitch. I've had a Twitch account for a couple of years, and I've done some of my Red Fox book clubs over on Twitch. But I might try streaming gaming on YouTube as well. But currently, I've been streaming a little bit over on Twitch gaming. And as I said in the thumbnail for the Skyrim video and the Half-Life 2 video, I honestly think you might find them oddly relaxing. And maybe, hopefully, pretty amusing. It's quite obvious that I'm genuinely really enjoying myself whilst playing these games that I've not played for like 6-7 years or more. So it's a lot of fun, and it's been a great way of just letting off some steam after recent events. There's been the Lord of the Rings thing. I've been moving house, as many of you know, for the latest time of it's like 10 to 15 times that I've moved house over the last decade. So I'm pretty tired of moving around. I've been talking about it here and there. There are many reasons why I've had to do so. But sort of getting back into gaming a little bit and streaming myself gaming. It's been really fun, and it's been quite refreshing, and it's been lovely to see some of you in the chat and enjoying those videos that I've been sharing on YouTube. So look out for these new ideas coming up, and look out for new episodes of content that I've been working on for some time. So, there's going to be more atmospheric audiobook soundscapes with immersive environments and ambient sounds to accompany my narration. I did one with H.P. Lovecraft's A Colour Out of Space, with an open fireplace, crackling fire, and I added storm effects and thunder and lightning, ambient sound with a dynamic rainstorm that runs throughout. And actually, if you listen carefully, the rainstorm very much matches the current mood and drama within the story and within the video itself. So listen out for that. I had a lot of fun putting that together just before the Lord of the Rings stuff hit. So there's going to be some more like that with different ambient sounds, different short stories. And also, of course, look out for new chapters of Dracula. We had chapter 14, chapter 15 last week, and I'm looking, if I can, I'm going to try my hardest to get chapters 16 and 17 out by the end of this week. So look out for that. And there's going to be some more Alice in Wonderland. I'm very determined to get that book finally finished after I've started it a couple of times in the past as well. And I'm going to be working my way through A Little Princess as well. I started it a few weeks ago. We had chapter 1, and I'm also going to be producing chapters 2 and 3 in a video, chapters 4 and 5 in a video, and so on, which many of you, I'm sure, as fans of classic literature, sure, more relaxing reads, sure, but fans of The Secret Garden and Frances Hodgson Burnett particularly are going to enjoy that one. And do make sure that you've got your notification bell turned on my channel, and then you don't miss YouTube premieres being announced, new videos being announced, and things like Red Fox Book Club live streams going live. If you would like to be there and actually chat and participate, mingle with me and the Fox fans and everything, make sure, please, that you've got your notifications on for this channel, and then you don't miss the start. So, there's live reading, there's chat, and, we just chill out for 2, 3, 4 hours, however it goes. And seriously, talking about what books could I read in the future and things, I've had endless suggestions and recommendations over these last couple of years. That's wonderful. And I have a list as long as a fox's bushy tail, just of public domain books that I want to produce for you all. So, there's plenty on the horizon. So just moving on a little bit, having to remove all of the Lord of the Rings content from YouTube, which I'd poured endless hours of love, time, and creative energy into, has, as I've said, been devastating on many levels. And unfortunately, although I'm always very reluctant to focus on this aspect, it has had a big impact on the financial viability and growth of my channel. Therefore, your support on Patreon, YouTube, Twitch, PayPal, Facebook, Discord, and so on is arguably as vital as ever. And giving back is never expected or required in any way. Most importantly, I want you to enjoy the content I put out there. So please don't feel any burden whatsoever, but please do know that your support is immensely appreciated and never taken for granted. That said, if you haven't already, please do consider joining me on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And even just take a quick look at my homepage on Patreon. Have a little look around, see what you think. If you've got any questions, please just ask. I'm always here in the comments. I have direct messaging, email, there's Discord, there's so many ways you can talk to me if you wish. Please don't be a stranger. And honestly, I do offer a lot of extra content, exclusive content, through Patreon and in conjunction with Google Drive as a reward for your support. So it's a win-win. Likewise, know that you can now become a channel member on YouTube if you wish, which is similar, although a little bit different to joining me on Patreon. So, you might have noticed that a join button has appeared on my channel a couple of days ago, or perhaps you've seen that I've been running a poll in my community post a couple of days ago, asking what extras you would like to have for becoming an official Fox Fan member on YouTube. So thank you to all of you that have voted, and the poll is still very much active if you'd like to vote. And a massive thank you to my first channel members that joined up within a few minutes of me activating the features. So you're amazing. Seriously. I literally announced it, and within about 10 minutes, 3 of you had signed up. So when I say signed up, it's not a complicated procedure, but that was really heartwarming. Thank you very much. And so regarding that poll, behind the scenes content was leading the poll at the time that I'm recording this. So I'll definitely be looking deeper into what I can do with this idea, and also know that I will absolutely be starting exclusive member only / patron only live streams. So once a month, I'll be streaming exclusively to those of you supporting me on Patreon at any level, or those of you that are members on YouTube. And, we can read, we can chat, game, hang out, whatever we feel like on that particular month. And all these things that I'm mentioning here, these are just extras. So like all my regular content will be going on as normal, but anything that I'm mentioning here with Patreon and being a YouTube member and things like that, these are just extra features. There's a lot of content there, but it's extra bits. I'm not taking anything away from my normal YouTube channel and Twitch channel and everything. So, one thing with the members as well, the YouTube members, you also get a bunch of little exclusive emojis that you can use in YouTube premieres and live streams. And these were designed by the extremely talented graphic designer Sarah Barra, aka Hell Red Sky. So thanks again to Sarah, who's been a Fox fan for a couple of years now. And you can go follow her on Instagram and Redbubble if you'd like to see more of her beautiful work. The links, along with links for various other things that I've been mentioning through the course of this video, are in the video description below. Lastly, really, in this video, if I may talk on a more personal level, I just wanted to cover some things that I wrote about in a recent community post. So I wanted to address a particular point, which I feel has been relevant, like particularly with some comments and feedback that I've been receiving recently, but things that I think about in general as well. And Lord of the Rings being removed and some of the other content being removed in the past, it sort of all ties in with this sort of feeling, I think. And that is really that there are many elements to all of us. You know, it's a pretty straightforward point, I think. And none of us should be seen as just one thing to anyone, or even to themselves. And I mean, in this way, in my opinion at least, this applies to content creators too, that very much thrive from imagination and freedom. And these factors, imagination and freedom, they lead to great content. And I mean, some people will particularly enjoy one thing and some will prefer others, and that is in itself what is so wonderful about free content sharing platforms, like YouTube. We can pick and choose whatever we like, whenever we like, with people making all of this content for us, free to consume. And I mean, I myself watch a lot of YouTube. I don't just make stuff here. There have been a lot of YouTubers that I've watched for many years, and I'm discovering new channels and content all the time, which is just awesome. And I try my best to engage with a few of those YouTubers and leave comments and things, but I know I could do more. I know I could be more supportive to them. I know how grateful I am, but it doesn't necessarily mean they know how grateful I am. And it's easy to take these things for granted in various ways, that you just presume that, they're out there just doing their thing, and there's sort of like a distance between this side of the camera and that side of the camera, But yeah, it's a complex thing. But related to this rather simple point, whether or not one feels that they could be more successful, and this can be interpreted in many ways: more healthy or fit or strong, a better friend, companion, or person in general, better with their economy, more free to pursue a particular lifestyle, more skilled at or more able to spend time with a particular passion, hobby, or education, or whether we feel perfectly content the way we are. However we feel, we are all diverse, complex individuals living in a diverse, complex world and trying our hardest, succeeding, failing. And I think that failing, for example, should be embraced and encouraged far more than it is. But Stephen Red Fox Garnett and Red Fox Voice too can be a place for many things that reflect my different interests, passions, and sides of me as a person. And I mean, I would love to collaborate more with other creators. I do chat on a private level with a couple of creators out there, and I sometimes try to reach out to various creators. I would love to collaborate and experiment, and I would love to have an opportunity to collaborate with you. Whether we game together on Twitch and just have a bit of fun, whether you join me on a Red Fox book club and we can try like a bit of a radio podcast kind of style, or maybe you can read along with me and play one of the characters, or if you've got a short story you'd like me to have a look at. I've had some really interesting emails about that sort of thing. So if I've not replied to you, apologies. I will definitely try to catch up with my emails. I have correspondence all over the place, and I really try my best with that, but I know I could do better. But please just send me an email if you've got any ideas. And I'm going to be thinking about things. So I mean, I've got to just ask you, like, straightforward, leave me a comment. Would you be interested in being a part of my videos in one way or another? I know it might be a bit of a vague question, but have a think about it. I really want to experiment and improve, and importantly, keep doing what I do well. Quality over quantity has always been absolutely fundamental to me. So please bear that in mind. But therefore, I always need to know what you want and what you enjoy. It doesn't necessarily mean I can always make that particular video, or that's the particular content that's going to come this week or this month. But your comments are incredibly important, incredibly useful, incredibly encouraging. So please do share your thoughts and feelings in the comments. And so my original YouTube channel was just called Stephen Garnett. And primarily my second YouTube channel, which was called Red Fox Voice, they started with and focused on reading aloud and audiobooks. But my desire to create a place to relax, I could say that with inverted commas as well, was always at the heart of the content that I chose to share. And I've personally experienced a very strong therapeutic effect from producing all the content that I've produced, but particularly that's what led me to picking up my old Samsung Galaxy S5, S3, S5 I think it was, and hitting record and trying out reading out aloud. It really was therapy for me at the beginning. And this idea that I wanted to give something wholesome for someone out there, I didn't know who they were, to listen to relax them, to occupy their mind, to give them something to think about and digest, that sort of came from a happy middle ground between these more old-fashioned, professional, quite stiff, upper-class audiobooks, going back into the 90s, 80s and onwards, and some of this which can be very pleasant ASMR, whispered, relaxing reading that was first coming about in about 2012, 2013 or so. So I wanted to try and find like a happy middle ground between those two things. And over the course of these 3 years or so, I've experimented with different books, authors and genres, and with different styles of narration, presentation and atmosphere. And I've experimented with live streams, hosting and chatting and reading and performing live and mingling with viewers. And I've tried videoing outdoors with animals and nature, whether with candid commentary or an added voiceover. And I've tried my hand at writing my own original piece based on my reflections and life experience, which is something that I definitely would like to explore further. And I've shared behind-the-scenes pictures and previews of projects I'm working on, samples of work outside of YouTube, and then thoughts while editing these things, which I did once or twice actually on live streams over on Twitch. And I've even tried playing online chess with a couple of long-term viewers during a stream last September. And I'd been pondering for a very long time whether streaming online gaming could be fun to watch, to make. As I used to be a pretty heavy gamer many years ago, actually before streaming video games really blew up. So this is not a completely random thing. And so, unsurprisingly, I have a lot of interests. Since school, maybe even for as long as I can remember, I've been the jack of all trades, master of none type. And linked to this, I've always loved trying new things, seeing new places, experimenting, testing, challenging myself. Sometimes somewhat successfully, sometimes less so. And my life to date, it's not something I really talk about so much, but it hasn't been the smoothest. I know it's not been the roughest out there either, don't get me wrong. But I've had a few serious disasters along the way. Before all things Red Fox voice. So, I'm talking pre-YouTube. I'm not talking about copyright takedowns and things like that. Personal life stuff. And there is, though, so much, despite the lows, despite the highs, however you look at it, there is so much that I am grateful for. And I feel now, as I often haven't in the past, that I have much to give to the world. It depends what sort of scale you want to look at, whether it's to friends and family or to someone on the other side of the world, And, my journey on YouTube and, over these other social media platforms and online community platforms and everything over the last 3 years or so, like I said, it's been extremely special, and it is still extremely special. And those of you that I've talked with, those of you that have encouraged me and supported me in countless ways, I'm not just talking financial ways here. You have helped me more than you know. But look, this is a positive video at the end of the day. I know I've been talking about a couple of heavy things in there, but what next? Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And know that I am not going anywhere. I am totally and utterly committed to becoming as successful as I can become. As an audiobook producer, content creator, person. And I absolutely love to share my passion for literature and all sorts of other aspects of life with you. I've experienced many adversities over my 32 years. I know I'm young in many regards. But I know also that I am an extremely fortunate individual. To be here today, recording this video, and to be able to share it with a kind, genuine, appreciative, and generous community online is a privilege that I will never take for granted. So watch this space. Take care of yourself wherever you are. Stay foxy. And, of course, read to you soon.